Hello everyone, let's continue building a dungeon crawler game. So last time we ended with the first parts of implementing multiple floors, and ever since what we have right now hasn't been sitting really well with me, and I think the fact that there's already so much tech debt accruing in such a small time, that it's interesting to have a look at that. And I also think one of our problems is that we introduced the concept of a world and a player very early on, and I'm just not sure if these are the right abstractions. So how can we find out if these are the right abstractions? Well, let's first start by thinking about why we have these things. In the end, we have all these things so we can show a game world and interact with it. So I think we should be starting from there. So if we have a content view here, and okay, sure, that has a world. If we have here an action to turn a player counterclockwise, and we constantly need to put the player in between for the movement here as well, I think it would probably make more sense if we could write something like world dot turn party counterclockwise, because in the end it's not really a player that we're turning, it's a group of party members that we're turning. So this is the API I would like to end up with. So let's try and get one of those. So if we take our dungeon crawler test and we have movement, if we say we have party movement, and we rename this one also to, this will be a bit of work, but hopefully it's not too bad. Get to the specified coordinate when it moves in a specified direction. This still works. So we could say move party forward, and instead of having a player here, let's say we have a world here, and we can rename this one. We'll create a world here, and now the world wants to have this move function, which it doesn't have. But if we go in our world, and what if we said we created a function move party in a direction, and here we would say here we also have access to a map. But this is a movement direction. How are we declaring the world? Let's see where this also happens. Oh, I guess this one is now renamed world, so that this worked a bit different than I would have expected. It might not even be that bad, because what if we take this world, we take out this map, we put it here, get rid of this one, we call this one now the world. Let's see if this already does something. Okay, so the world no longer has a player, no problem. Okay, so this is already an improvement because it removes if we go to our tech tab, it removes the feature envy and message chains we had there. So we can mark those as done. Now world.turn counterclockwise and world.move don't sound very intuitive, but what we could say is that we have our world, it has a map. Let's just say that for now, first off, we don't need to inject the map anymore. So let's build this one so we get notified where we need to get rid of those. See if this builds. Of course, this now also needs to be done here. Let's see if we can do this using find replace. That's always a bit risky, these types of search replace, but let's see if this works. Okay, we still have one here because this one has a special map. So some of the tests will now fail. But actually most of them pass. And the ones that fail are because they have assumptions about a map that we can't meet yet with this specific example map that we're creating the world with. So a better solution would probably be to say that this one has a map. Now, everywhere where we're creating a map, we need creating a world, we need to pass in a map. Something like this. And everywhere we create a world, here we create one with a map. We should also really rename these to world. So now we can pass in the other map. We name this one to world. Okay, let's see if this builds, including our tests. Okay, so now these tests all pass again. So you might think, so how does this help? Because there was a lot of searching and placing of text. How does this help? Well, first I'm going to commit this. What it means is that from a user perspective or a UI perspective, we now have a world we interact with, and that's sort of a black box. So we don't know, we know certain things about the world. So we know where there's a player position or party position, where it's looking at, things like that. We can send commands to the world and then stuff happens and we see the results. And now both the tests as well as the UI mimic the idea that this world is its own self-contained thing. And the way we represent parties or players or NPCs or enemies is more or less invisible. We're interested in things that happen in the world in terms of time and in terms of commands that are sent to it, and checking how those happen. So I do think what we do need is rename a couple of things, because I think a couple of things now have an unintuitive name, because the world doesn't have a position, but the party does have a position. So we can safely rename this one. And we can also say we have a party heading. And a current floor I think is okay. We have a map at this time, but we might have more in the future. We could say, we could rename this one to, can't we rename this one? Okay, we can do this manually. We could call this a party start position and a party start heading. This will break because at the call site probably. Oh, I would have expected this to break at the call site. Yeah, it breaks here. So this will be the party start position and the party start heading. Let's see if there are more like this. Okay, let's see the test still run. Okay, I think that's already an improvement. Let's see if there's anything more we can do in terms of renaming. So we move, but we're not moving the world. We're moving the party. And we are turning the party clockwise. And we are turning the party counterclockwise. And we have ascend stairs. Okay, so let's see if tests still run. I probably made a typo somewhere. I'll amend this one, rename properties and functions in world to have to indicate that they act on the party. Okay. So I think we have a cleaner API. Did we have hard-coded starting position for the player in the world? Yeah, that is something we have in our let's see how this looks right now. So we're probably inside. We were in a wall, I guess, because we were starting in this position, so we should infuse the start position to be the coordinate 1, 1. Let's see if this helps. Okay, so now we define the start position at least in the content view instead of in the world itself, which makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to consider this one done as well. So that's a lot of tech debt done. One thing I need to check is if we don't accidentally still talk about players here. Also, maybe we can just search for player. The new world is created. New. The party in new world faces north. These are party rotation tests. When moved from one floor to another, a new party starts at floor 0. When a party moves up a staircase, okay, I think this should be a new. Yeah, this is just a lot of. This is just a bit of work. So we don't have the word player anymore. Do we have the word? Oh. Don't accidentally hit Ctrl Z. Do we have it with capitals? Haha. Okay. Any more matches? No. We could also try and find it in the entire project. So that's in the backlog, sure. Yes, but these are all the things we solved. This is now called World Swift. Do we have it with small letters? No. Looks good. Okay, so I know it's probably not the most exciting thing to look at, just doing these kinds of renaming actions. My point is these still have value because getting rid of the player abstraction, something we don't need at this time, took half an hour. But it took half an hour now. It would have taken way longer if we had continued implementing features and then came to the conclusion that, hey, this player class isn't working so well for us. let's try and get it out. And then we have many more tests, many more references from the game to that class. And the threshold or the incentive to not fix it becomes higher and higher, because it becomes more and more work to fix it. So that's why I try to get rid of tech debt as soon as possible, because it starts compounding it can start compounding very quickly. And we only have a half an hour at a time, meaning that it's important to spend our time wisely. And it's half an hour now, so we save 2 hours, for instance, somewhere down the road. Now, it is possible, of course, that at some point in time we start reintroducing the concept of a party or a player or a mob or an entity or whatever. And then it might feel like, hey, we took it out, that took time, now we're putting it back, isn't that wasteful? I would say not exactly, because now our tests are no longer dependent on the concrete implementation of a party or something else. It only knows about the world, and the same is true for our UI. So if we decide at some point in time, hey, this party position, this party heading, this current floor are always used together, then you could say these are data clumps. We could abstract them away into something else, into some type, and that would only impact our world and won't impact the colors of the world at any place. So I think that would be a nice solution. I'll quickly clarify that this is about as well and has stairs up. Although we could use the rule of 3 and say, well, this is just 2. If we have a third one, then we start fixing this. But we already know we will have one, because we will also want to have stairs down. Okay, that's enough for this time. Next time we are going to continue with the various floors for real. Thanks for watching and have a great day.